Right now, today, you are writing a page in a book, and it's the only copy that will ever exist. No editor, no do-overs, no second draft. Tomorrow, you'll write another page, whether you mean to or not. The only real question is whether the story you're writing is one your future self will actually want to read. Today, I'm giving you 10 ways to make sure it is. Let's begin.
Find a passion that makes you come alive. Jacques Cousteau spent his early adulthood as a naval officer with no clear plan until a near-fatal car accident forced months of recovery, during which a friend handed him a pair of swimming goggles. That single afternoon underwater changed the direction of his entire life, eventually turning him into the person who brought the ocean's hidden world to millions who had never seen it. He didn't ask what the world needed first. He followed what made him feel alive, and the contribution followed naturally afterward.
2. Work hard on that passion. Marie Curie worked for years in a leaking, freezing shed with almost no funding, processing tons of raw pitchblende ore by hand, just to isolate a few grams of a substance she believed existed but couldn't yet prove: radium. She won 2 Nobel Prizes in 2 different scientific fields, something no one else has ever done. A dream without hours behind it is just a wish. Curie's shed had no glamour in it at all. It had years of exhausting, unglamorous work, which is exactly what made the discovery possible. 3. Live happily in your own way. In the film Dead Poets Society, an English teacher stands his students on their desks and tells them to look at the world from a different angle, reminding them of an old Latin phrase, carpe diem, seize the day, because we are all, eventually, food for worms. It's a strange way to inspire someone, but it works because it's true. Nobody else's definition of success gets to expire your one chance at living by your own. 4. Change your path when you must, but keep moving forward. In 1985, a young tech entrepreneur was forced out of the very company he had co-founded. Instead of stopping there, he started an entirely new company, then bought a small computer graphics division that would eventually become Pixar, before returning years later to lead his original company into its most successful era yet. He later said the dots only connected looking backward. You can't always see the new path clearly while you're walking it. You just have to keep walking. 5. When the going gets tough, keep fighting. In 1915, Ernest Shackleton's ship Endurance became trapped and crushed by Antarctic ice, stranding his entire crew hundreds of miles from any hope of rescue. Not one man died. Shackleton led them across pack ice, open ocean, and a mountain range no one had ever crossed, refusing to lose a single person under his command. The most respected people you'll ever meet usually aren't the ones who avoided hardship. They're the ones who went through it and decided somewhere in the middle of it not to let it be the ending. 6. Let go of the past and live consciously in the present. An old Persian tale tells of a king who asked his wisest advisor for something that would comfort him in triumph and in despair alike. The advisor gave him a simple ring engraved with 3 words: "This too shall pass." In victory, it kept him humble. In grief, it kept him hopeful. The past deserves a visit sometimes. It was never meant to be a permanent address. Right now is the only place your actual life is happening. 7. Embrace new ideas, lessons, and challenges. In 1928, a Scottish scientist returned from vacation to find that a mold had accidentally contaminated one of his bacterial culture dishes. Instead of simply discarding the ruined experiment, he leaned into the strange result and discovered that the mold was killing the surrounding bacteria. That accidental curiosity became penicillin, one of the most life-saving discoveries in medical history. the unexpected detour isn't always a distraction from your work. Sometimes it is the work, waiting to be noticed. 8. Appreciate the little things in life that mean a lot. While hiding from persecution for 2 years in a cramped attic during the Second World War, a teenage girl named Anne Frank still found room in her diary to write about a sliver of blue sky, the sound of chestnut leaves outside a window, and how nature could make her feel, in her words, that everything would be all right again. If someone could find that much beauty from an attic window during the worst period in modern history, most of us are surrounded by far more small beauty than we usually stop to notice. 9. Live honorably through kindness. Oskar Schindler was, by his own admission, an imperfect man, a war profiteer at the start of the Second World War. But somewhere along the way, he began quietly spending nearly his entire fortune bribing officials and falsifying paperwork to protect over 1,000 Jewish workers from deportation to concentration camps at enormous personal risk. He didn't start out as anyone's definition of honorable. He became it, one costly decision at a time. Honor was never about being flawless. It's about which choice you make when it actually costs you something. 10. Spend quality time with people you love. Harvard researchers have been quietly tracking the same group of men for over 80 years, one of the longest studies of human life ever conducted, to find out what actually predicts a long, happy life. It wasn't wealth. It wasn't fame or career achievement. Across 8 decades of data, the single strongest predictor of happiness and health in old age was the quality of a person's close relationships. 80 years of research eventually arrived at the exact thing your grandmother probably already told you. Call the people you love. Today, not eventually. Here's the surprising part. Not one of these 10 stories started with someone who felt ready. Curie didn't have proper funding. Shackleton didn't have a map for what he was about to survive. Fleming didn't plan to discover anything that day. He almost threw the ruined dish away. None of them were writing a perfect story. They were just writing the next honest sentence and letting it lead to the one after that. You get to do the exact same thing today. Not a perfect page, just an honest one. If this reached you at the right moment, share it with someone who's in the middle of writing a hard chapter right now. I'll see you in the next one.